Hey, Shalom, Shalom. Call halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua by Hashem Kakudash. And of course, double honors go out to the apostles of Great Millstone, alright? Through the Spirit taught us all this truth and therefore deserve double honors, alright? So, another thing from Great Millstone always said that this was a ruse, alright? Meaning this was a smokescreen for something else bigger, alright? While everybody else is preoccupied with this BS, this COVID 19, like the saying always goes, follow the money, people. Follow the money. Alright? This is basic as far as that goes. Follow the money. Alright? Here it is via 21stcenturywire.com. This is from zerohedge.com. It says this week Sky News Australia contributor and former Australian Senator Cory Bernardi tore open the debate on COVID after calling out a global agenda which few in mainstream media have dared to mention so far. Why? Because they're being controlled. Plain and simple. Everything's screened, alright, before it gets to the general population. Alright? That's why you have all these stories about, you know, little Brenda's kitten is caught up in a tree and that makes big news and you get all the oohs and ahs while at the same time nobody's focusing on what they're doing behind the scenes because it's not being reported. You have to get these so-called maverick news outlets, alright? It says, since lockdowns began in March of 2020, few have challenged the government rationale for voluntarily imploding their economies and destroying communities and societies, based on a guess that coronavirus might kill tens of millions of citizens. Alright? It says, and that's just playing on the people's fears. Alright? Playing on the people's fears. And they keep feeding that. It says, however, Bernardi believes that the COVID-19 pandemic hysteria, like I just said, is being used as the Trojan horse for a globalist agenda hatched out of the World Economic Forum in Davos. It's called the Great Reset, and it's designed by elite billionaires supposedly to bring about social and economic change. There is something unusual about, and it says, I quote, quote unquote, there is something unusual about the continuing pandemic panic, said Bernardi. Medical experts now acknowledge that lockdowns don't work. Now, none of that makes any sense until you open your mind to consider if there is another agenda at work. And it is. It always was. Alright? And that's the problem with the majority of the people. They're so in lockstep with this society and everything that's fed with them, they just eat up. Alright? No questions asked. So it's more easy for you to fall prey to something like this. Alright? It goes on to say, according to technocrat Klaus Schwab, founder and chairman of the World Economic Forum, COVID-19 cases have shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century. It has laid bare a fundamental lack of social cohesion, fairness, inclusion, and equality. Now is the historical moment of time not only to fight the virus, but to shape the system for the post-corona era, claims Schwab. Again, perfect timing to establish something like this. Alright? You got the people so concerned, and it also serves the purpose of just obliterating the so-called middle class. Alright? It says, Mr. Schwab admits that COVID-19 is a new excuse to usher in the Green New Deal that climate alarmists, profiteers, and big government have been pushing for years, said Bernardi. Think about it. The global response to COVID has been a green socialist dream. Alright? Bernardi cites the fact that coordinated government shutdown policies, not COVID, have brought down fuel consumption and canceled international travel and bankrupted scores of airlines and travel firms already. In addition, governments are using the pandemic to permanently curtail civil liberties and freedom of movement and assembly. We said that from the outset. And some doctors who aren't getting the press time or exposure have come out and said this is not about any pandemic or COVID-19 in particular. This is about control of the people. All right? And that's exactly the point. This whole thing is to usher in a cashless society, and as a result, you're going to get this microchip implanted in you. This vaccine that they're pushing for is just the precursor for that. You're going to be marked with that also. It says, in addition, governments are using, all right, it says, why do you think the Australian Greens have been so quiet these past months? It's because their policy agenda is coming to life. After decades of peddling climate change lies and propaganda to force government by the elites, the socialists have used a media-induced hysteria, which is COVID-19, over public health as their latest weapon of economic destruction. The end game of creating this illusion of a global pandemic emergency is to rapidly usher in the introduction of a Green New Deal policy, where billionaires seek to restructure our capitalist system into a new green economy, promising equality and climate justice along the way. What do you think was behind that that little girl? What was her name? Thornburg, or whatever the hell her name was. Greta, whatever the hell her name was, from Sweden. That was all propped up. So he also highlights the fact that many of the same scientists and institutions involved in the fraudulent, over-the-top modeling of COVID-19 deaths are also involved in IPCC computer model projections of supposed future climate change. Like I said, this is all BS. But people are so panicked and fearful of something they completely do not understand. And again, this is being pushed as a distraction, people. That's just it. Let me get some scriptures here. This is all based on lies. All right. This is Psalms. Let's see. This is what I want. All about the lie. This is Psalms chapter 101, verse 7. He that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. I will early destroy all the wicked of the land, that I may cut off all wicked doers from the city of the Most High Yahweh. Alright. These people are the wicked. That's what they were set up to be all along. Alright. But our people what? What does it tell you about your enemy? This is Sirach for Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 10. Never trust thine enemy. It didn't say sometimes or when you feel like it. It says never trust thine enemy. And that's Jake. Our people have been conditioned over here. You know, this is our punishment. This is not our rest. This is never something or a place that we were, alright, permanently set up in. We are to conduct ourselves as pilgrims. Alright? That's what we're supposed to. But Jake is just hunkered down and, you know, trying to make their hell at least livable, or even more than that. They want to blend in. Never trust our enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And iron is always going to rust. Therefore, he's always going to be wicked. Alright? So let's go to Proverbs 29. This is Proverbs chapter 29, verse 12. It says, if a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. What have I just been reading? To orchestrate something like this, to shut down the world, ought to tell you something. It shows you who's in rulership. Otherwise, those that they don't have something on would just say, no, we're not doing this. But everybody obeyed. See? And you all scoffed at Great Millstone in particular. But all of you see us out there on the highways and byways, on the street corners. You say, those guys. But you're the ones that fell prey to this. And a lot of you still are. You don't see what it is. You don't see the truth yet. Staying in, let's see, where was I? This is, let's see. Then I got to wrap this up. This is Proverbs chapter 25, verse 5. It says, take away the wicked from before the king, and his throne shall be established in righteousness. And that's what we're waiting for. That's our prayer. Alright? We seek something better. Alright? As it says in Hebrews. Let's get that real quick. This is what we search for. This is what we want. This is Hebrews 11. Let's see. It says, verse 14, for they that say, verse 15, and truly if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned. Alright, but it was too late. It says, but now they desire a better country, that is, and heavenly, wherefore the Most High is not ashamed to be called their power, for he hath prepared for them a city. Alright, and that's it. Alright, so with that, because at the same, well, let me get one more. Because at the same time, you got to consider this devil is all about this is 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Alright. But thou, O man of God, flee these things, and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, meekness, which is completely contrary to what these Edomites are about. Alright? Skipping down to verse 17. It says, charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living power, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Alright? And then the scriptures say, as it pertains to these Edomites, that the Most High is not in all their thoughts. And that's true. They trust in their science. You see these commercials now popping up. Well, if you have to trust in the science. And yet, you're the first one to hold up a Bible. And it's just a front. Why are you, Psalms 50, verses 16 and 17. Alright? Why do you take my covenant in your mouth? These so-called white people are done. Alright, so with that, I'm sure I've gone over. Once again, if you're edified by this, hopefully so. Call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakodash, and of course, double honors once again to the apostles of Great Millstone, who through the Spirit have been teaching us this truth and continue to do so. So with that, Shalom.